We are sitting with one of the most desirable men in Pakistan today. Women want to be around him, men want to be him. Which is why we feel that we're exceptionally lucky that we're actually with him today. It is Fawad. You find that particularly funny, don't you?
I do actually, I would have never imagined that. Even if that is so, maybe 15 years ago, I would have been hysterical had you been saying that. But now I've sort of toned down. I can take it into my stride and say, yeah.
The amount of people who have taken selfies with you in the last, I think, 1 year is probably like some Guinness record or something, isn't it?
Could be. And I think I blame the Kapoor sisters the most for that, because of the sort of the marketing gimmick for the film was the selfie. But I felt that because of the movies, हर जगह जब जा रहे थे, तो ना मैंने गाया था, ना मैंने को डांस किया था फिल्म के अंदर, तो वो चार जो है वो she used to like shake a bum 4 times, and then I'd just probably and when it used to come to my turn, and they used to say dance, I'd be like, would you rather have a selfie?
But if we take it back a few years, and if I talk to you because you're obviously from Lahore, and you just said that 15 years ago you would have never thought that. What was life like back then? What was life 15 years ago like?
Lahore was so much more peaceful. It was so much more nicer. The distances were longer. You didn't have cell phones. That you'd have to like sort of get to a place, call someone before you're leaving. You just call them. You're on the way. You're calling them. You just call from home and you just get to somewhere and you'd meet people. I think you'd go back home. The drives were longer, more peaceful. Nehar jo thi, I think, was so much more beautiful. I think, jo log, I'm sure you know that Lahore as well. There was this concrete jungle jo ab hai, wo nahi hota tha.
Time that
so
nobody
there was like
knew
mystery
Fawad Khan.
There was a time that no one knew Fawad Khan. The only people who knew Fawad Khan were probably my parents and my sisters at home. And Fawad Khan was a ghar ki murgi dal barabar. So yeah, I've never been that much of a social person. I used to proudly label myself as an introvert because I think introverts are geniuses. So I'm tooting my own horn.
And then movies happened, and so much for the introvert.
And so much for... Well, I mean, all you see is what you see on the screen.
Yeah.
We as actors are... I say that with pride that we're the most unethical people on earth. We get paid to lie. A lot of the time, so we're lying.
So it's an aura.
It's the aura that you're in. It's that screen persona that you're in love with. Otherwise, behind the screens, what I am, yes, I feel there is a mystery about it, and I choose to keep it that way because it kind of, it sort of, keeps that privacy in my life alive. And I think, at the end of the day, I'm just as normal as my next door neighbor, and I would rather let it be like that.
But since we are sort of speaking about the people that you surround yourself with and the people that you're comfortable with, we know that you met your wife, Sadaf, much, much earlier on in life, and it was kind of there, boy gone, huh?
Yeah, boy was gone.
Boy was gone, boy is still very
Off
much
the menu.
gone, huh?
Off the menu. Not like anyone really cared at that time, but, yeah, I was very fortunate. I was very lucky to have bumped into Sadaf at a very early stage in my life. And I have no shame in admitting that it was a bit of a turbulent time for me. There were things, I was very into metal, into, black metal, goth metal, that kind of a guy, and...
the angry young man.
The angry young man. So, the dark time was because, the reason why I won't say is because I don't want to necessarily encourage youngsters out there.
Yeah.
But there were certain things that, we'd be up to, which were, it was like harming yourself in a certain way. And I remember that Sadaf, was like this light at the end of the tunnel that sort of kind of pulled me out of it. When I met her, she kind of just like sort of put me into perspective and said, what the hell are you doing? What is this? Why are you fantasizing about this? What is this? What is this death and darkness that you fantasize about and God knows what? But more than that, she became a really good friend and she became my best friend. And I proposed to her at that age. I remember I met her and I was like, I'm a traditionalist. I'm a very traditional kind of a guy.
I'm a traditional hard rock guy.
A traditional hard rock guy with, with old school thoughts. So I'm a very complex character. But I don't believe in any dilly-dallies.
But that's
I don't
so
believe
cool. So you saw her and you knew she was the one.
So in 10 days I proposed to her.
Okay then.
Which is kind of weird. So that's sort of
but
also...
when it happens, huh?
Yeah, I mean, if I were to do that, you know, if we were in this day and age, she'd probably file a restraining order or something.
But clearly she had a lot of faith in you. I mean, if
no,
at
she
that,
didn't. She did. It took her 4 years to say yes.
Oh, that's fine. No, but she at least did say yes. She said yes to Fawad Khan, the guy.
Because he was
not Fawad Khan, the star, who
obviously
everyone will say yes to
I was
now.
not anything. She has known me in my lowest of moments and in my highest of highs, and I owe it all to her, you know, for that composure in my life.
No, but that's very interesting that you say that, because even when one sees pictures of you and everything, it's almost like she's your anchor. Like, you know, the way she...
I kind of lean in. I'm kind of leaning in every picture. Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's really cool. That is one cool composed woman to have in your life, huh?
Yeah.
And I bet like बिचारी उसको तो नजर लगती होगी 4 करोड़ औरतों की सारी दुनिया से आजकल. So there's this small little world that Fawad Khan sort of lives in, and then there is like all this big spillover for it.
Yeah. But no, I don't think it's a spillover. But yeah, they're very contrasting worlds, I would say. They're very contrasting worlds. And sometimes, yeah, I do face a bit of a MPD, a multiple personality disorder, where, you know, you step in there, you're expected to be something else, and you step back home.
Shiny, happy person, and, you know, like, obviously you don't have the room to be, just be.
You're living sort of like two aliases.
Okay, so now that you're traveling so much, I mean, you know, you're barely ever around, and you say, obviously, your child is clearly the center of your universe. What's a typical day for you like when you're back home?
Strangely enough, the first 2 days, I sleep it off. So I have a lot of jumping on me, you know. So Ayan is like constantly sort of kicking me and jumping on me and like beating me and saying कि या तो पापा जो है या तो बाहर होता है या फिर जिम जाता है या फिर सो रहा होता है. So then मुझे शर्म आती है, फिर मैं उठता हूँ. And after 2 days, I think we then get into the cycle. And then I'm the one who kind of spoils his habits. So we kind of, you know, like try to get a movie and do the regular stuff, you know, like, you know, order in, watch a movie, play video games, go outside. And right now we just had a recent addition to our family, and it's a small puppy. And that's what Ayan has been like, you know, sort of, he's been craving it all his life. And so finally we were able to have this new member in the family.
Have you seen that on your Instagram yet? Because I do hound you on Instagram. I don't think he's quite made a public appearance yet, has he?
Well, you might want to sort of, you know, not mention Instagram, because that Instagram account is not mine.
What?
No, well, I mean, it is kind of mine, but it's not mine. It's kind of like the Twitter thing that happened, where I was like forced to go onto Twitter. And you see, that's the thing with me. I really easily get bullied by women. And I should not be telling you that.
Instagram account is not yours.
I should not
follow it every day.
You can follow it. There's no problem in that. Okay. But let me get back to my story. I kind of get easily bullied by women. Or I should not be saying this. But so this what happened with Sonam during the promotions of Khubsurat. She just took my phone one day and she said, "So let me install Twitter on your phone." And I was like, "Okay, go ahead." And she's like, "So here's how you work Twitter, and this is your password. What do you wanna keep your password?" And I probably would have told her my password as well, except that she was just polite enough to say, "Why don't you enter it yourself?" Otherwise, I would have said like, "Whatever, man.
Speaking to Sonam right now.
Whatever.
Tweet to you.
Whatever." So the thing is that I've never been a very social, you know, social network savvy person, taken out, or friendly person that way. But so she opened another Twitter account, and then एक खास खातून है यहाँ पे जिनके साथ मैंने काम किया हुआ है, तो उन्होंने भी इस बात का एडवांटेज लिया और उन्होंने मेरा इंस्टाग्राम अकाउंट खोल दिया. उनका नाम है मेरीन सैयद. The model. No more accounts.
No, but I find that so beautiful, because that actually means that you're living for yourself and not to showcase yourself to other people. Because inevitably the social media is to just show others what your life is about, right? Isn't it?
True. Do you have an Instagram account?
I have an everything account. It's my job.
Stop showcasing your life.
Look at him. Okay. No, the tables are turning around, so I'm going to go back right to him. And yes, we're just going to start talking about your influences, because clearly, I mean, you know, obviously your wife has been a very strong influence, and because obviously you've known her for as long as you have, from, you know, transforming you from that heavy metal, dark kind of a boy to where you are today, which is very commercial, mainstream success. And
really, you want to give her that much credit? I don't think she likes that commercial mainstream stuff either. But
No,
yeah,
but
okay.
no, but actually that's what we're coming towards, because obviously she had a role to play, and then I'm sure there are other people who had roles to play in there. Who do you see, like, in lots of ways? I mean, I'm sure you've had mentors, people that you've looked up to.
I've had many teachers in my life. I think, and I owe them a lot. And I think it started off with my sister. She influenced my initial sense of style, and my actually, you know, my music. Not my music, but the music I was listening to.
Okay.
She introduced me to a lot of bands at that time. This is back in like '92. So, you know, that was a time when Nirvana hit the scene. Yeah, off-beat se cassettes खरीदते थे. Exactly, beat cassettes होती थी, and I remember at that time, that's when she introduced me to, you know, the likes of U2, Nirvana, REM. और उससे पहले क्योंकि, to be very honest,
That was a cool sister, by the way, because everyone else was listening to Bryan Adams and Michael Jackson.
Bryan Adams ही सुनता था, and Michael Jackson की Dangerous आई थी उस वक्त, I think. I was listening to Elvis Presley at the age of 9, and you know, there was like In the Ghetto. इस तरह के गाने जो I was listening to, there was like this is a selection best of Elvis Presley, 40 गानों की एक टेप होती थी और वही सुनता रहता था मैं.
Repeat पे कभी एक साइड फिर दूसरी साइड फिर पहली साइड.
मुझे तो मेरे पास और कुछ सुनने को था ही नहीं, to be very honest. मुझे को पता ही नहीं था कि क्या सुनते क्या हैं. And again, I had no personal sense of style. So she started saying, yeah, you know, dress your age and dress like a teenager, and dress like a cool teenager. You know, wear plaid shirts. You know, wear you know, fatigue denims, and you know, that kind of that. She kind of put me in that space where I was like, okay, fine, this is how you dress.
She
cool.
at least made you aware of the fact that there is a cool way of dressing.
Yeah. Children and
what would your parents have said if you told them like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, मैं Bollywood actor बनूंगा?
Bollywood actor नहीं, but मैंने तो अपने, I told my father I want to become a musician, and we used to actually, मुझे तो बहुत ज़्यादा गालम गलोच पड़ी है, and I had a lot of, I faced a lot of resistance at home. I did.
Tell me, was acting accidental? Because obviously you set out to be a musician.
Absolutely accidental.
Wow. and
even music, absolutely accidental.
Really?
Yeah.
So what was the story there?
The story there was, so here's my first semester, and by the way, without studying, so here's where I say, you know, I could have been I'm a natural born genius, so थोड़ी सी अपनी तारीफ भी कर
सदके जाऊं कसम से सब natural genius मेरे साथ. Okay, anyway, yes.
I had a CGPA at that time of 3 without, I lived half my wife was in lumps. And this story is known. So I was known more as a Luminite rather than a Fastian. Because मैं lumps में ज़्यादा नजर आता था, and guard ने actually believe करना शुरू कर दिया, तो मुझसे ID भी नहीं मांगता था. I used to just walk in. ठीक है? और एक आध दफा सलाम भी किया, क्या हाल है चाचा? और चला गया अंदर. And I have even been in one of the auditoriums and attended a lecture there as well. I didn't go to attend the lecture. I just went to actually sit next to my wife, you know. And I got kicked out of class on that. So the point is that whole first semester was spent me basically going and spending my time with my friends, because all my friends were in LUMS as well. उस वक्त जो है फिर मुझे एहसास हुआ कि यार ये इस तरह तो काम नहीं चलेगा कि मैं अब हर दिन जो है वहाँ पहुँच जाता हूँ, चलो कुछ कर लेते हैं. So I met a friend who was in my batch, and through a common friend, कुछ इस तरह बात आगे बढ़ी. हसान नाम था उसका, हसान खालिद, अभी भी होते हैं मेरे साथ.
जानते हैं हम उनको,
अच्छी तरह जानते हैं.
मेरे तो बेस्ट फ्रेंड है वो.
तो हम बस मिले किसी कॉमन कनेक्शन से, दोस्ती. फिर हमने सोचा यार यहाँ पे कुछ म्यूजिक होता है. अच्छा, हसान जो है used to play amazing, मतलब he's really good, मतलब because he'd actually been learning the guitar. तो उस वक्त हमारा एक और दोस्त होता था, जुल्फी.
Okay.
Zulfikar Jabbar.
बिल्कुल, absolutely.
So, who also had a band called Call at some point in time, and he's like a very successful producer. He was literally, you know, with one foot up on the wall, leaning against the wall. He's like, तो म्यूजिक अच्छा लगता है तुम लोग को? तो मैंने कहा यार हमने हाँ सारे कैरेक्टर थे. It was actually out of a movie. If you want to make a movie about a rock band, you know, honestly, when I saw these films, you know, Rock On and Rockstar, I was like, yeah, Indians don't know anything about rock music. They don't know how a band comes into being, how it's like. We should be sharing those experiences because, mind you, one of the most beautiful things about Lahore back in the day was the underground gig culture. एक underground bands का एक पूरा एक वो होता था, and आपकी डायरेक्टर भी जानती हैं, हम सब के सब जानते हैं, because a lot of this old, you know, this lot of people, ये अब आगे फिर म्यूज़िक को मेन स्ट्रीम में लेके आए, and तो उस वक्त ये जुल्फी भी जो एक अंडरग्राउंड बैंड का हिस्सा था, लाइक चलो हम अपना एक बैंड बनाते हैं, तो हमारा एक और दोस्त बना, वकार बना, फिर एक और दोस्त बना सज्जाद and Ali Asad Khan, and so we started this underground band. So at some point in time, I think there were 9 people in the band as well. So we were like trying to start a group था, हमारा actually musical group था, and we were like यार हम तो stage तोड़ देंगे, तोड़पन कर देंगे हम stage की, and it was about music, but it was more about having fun. And if I think about it, at that time, it didn't make much money.
Yeah.
But if I had a chance to trade this life for that, I'd go for that any day of the week.
Azadi.
No, it was fun, you know, it's just like being yourself. There's nothing comparable to the life of a rock star. An actor cannot compete any day of the week.
Really?
आप stage पे जाते हैं, you connect to people, they're in front of you, there's this live audience. The feeling is, you know, it makes your hair stand on end. It's amazing, it's exhilarating. And you can't compare it. So, फिर उससे आगे बढ़ता गया तो मेरी फिर कुछ दोस्तों से मुलाकात हुई. It's an old friend of mine who had directed a school play of ours called Spartacus back in school.
Okay.
His name is Zain Ahmed. Sabina Ahmed
Of course, yes.
बेटे हैं, and so he called me and he's like, yeah, I'm starting this thing called Jet and Bond. I was like, Jet and Bond? So like, so what? He's like, I'd like you to play Bond. I was like, Bond? Okay.
James Bond.
Not James Bond. I was like, no, it's not that kind of a Bond. And lo and behold, it definitely was not that kind of a Bond. ये और gigs चल रही हैं, तो मुझे तो पॉकेट मनी फिर वैसी नहीं इतनी को मिलती थी, एकदम से मेरे पास जो है ना 15-20 हज़ार रुपए आ गए महीने के, और मैं माला माल हो गया मैं तो, I was like the richest kid. आप पे से बाहर ही हो गया मैं तो. So it was a good time. I would say all in all, it was a good time, but that's how I kind of ventured into acting. कुछ पता नहीं, maybe I could have been, you know, could have been a terrible C-grade programmer today had I not met these people. Yeah. So I would say that these people also became somewhat of a tutor, a mentor in my life because they influenced my life. You know, I learned a lot from them. And during that acting cycle as well, I came across some more interesting people. Shoaib Mansoor was probably the next step. And I learned a great deal from him. I was an over-actor. I was a loud actor. And
is that true?
That is very true.
Because you're a very subdued person generally. Like whenever one interacts with you,
Allah का शुक्र है आपने मेरा पुराना काम भी देखा और ना ही कभी देख ले,
तो
आपको पता लग जाए. हाँ. So खैर वहाँ पे तो उसमें तो cover up होता था because वहाँ पे जितना भी loud हो जाए तो अच्छा था.
Exactly.
उसमें आके settle हो जाए Bond, James Bond, तो बहुत अजीब लगता. Shoaib Mansoor is probably the first person who said कि Fawad ज़्यादा है, तो थोड़ा कम कर ले. And another friend of mine, Chaudhary, Vasi Chaudhary, I remember his one thing that he said to me. He was like, यार टीवी पे तो आप बुद्धि घुमा लें, तो टीवी पे तो पता लगता है because टीवी की स्क्रीन इतनी छोटी होती है, बड़े पर्दे पे जब इतनी बड़ी स्क्रीन होती है, and because Vasi Chaudhary's family had, you know, been in the tradition of filmmaking and they owned a cinema as well. So he was always like, you know, very filmy person.
Exactly, he would think big.
So he would think big. So he's like, यार बड़ी स्क्रीन पे तो आप जरा सा, and this was his exact work, यार आंख इधर से उधर जाती है तो डबस एक जो ना एक impact होता है. So that I used to sort of pick up on these things, and I started realizing कि यार हाँ, you know, subtle is better. Then I met another person, Haitham Hussain, who I worked with on Dastan, and I remember he told me कि यार don't use these, use these. So these kind of people, you know, I feel have influenced me, have, you know, taught me a lot, and I do owe them a lot of, you know, a lot of my gratitude. No, but I observe and I absorb.
Exactly. So that's what I was coming to, because I'm sure that these people obviously have interacted with a lot of people. They've given this advice to a lot of people, but I don't think many.
I'm sure sitting behind. But then again, you know, but that's the thing that I wanted to do. Then I was like, यार अगर करना है इसको, तो जितना बेहतर किया जा सकता है, उतना बेहतर कर लेते हैं. Another person that, you know, is worth mentioning. I think he's been a very big influence in my life, as far as a sense of style is concerned, and as far as, you know, even common logic and rationale is concerned, is Asim Raza. He's a very good, very good friend. I've known him. I did my first ad with him. Taken a lot of advice from him during my career. And I think that if there is one director in this country who has a very developed sense of aesthetics, that's him.
Yeah, that is true though. He's got the eye.
He's got the eye. He's definitely got the eye. And I think अगर mentors की list में अगर मैं सदफ का नाम mention करूँ तो that would be
मेरी
very
वाली,
wrong.
मैं वाली.
नहीं, ये वाली मेरे घर वाली.
मैं भी आपको mentor कर सकती हूँ, कोई मसला नहीं है.
नहीं, लेकिन मेरी काफ़ी mentoring होगी, मेरा सर फट जाएगा. इतने mentors अगर मैंने अपने सर पे बिठा ली. But yeah, Sadaf again, I've been very lucky to have these people जिनका एक developed sense of aesthetics है. Very developed, very developed.
You've trusted them
And I
obviously
trusted
also. It's
them,
like
you know.
a two-way
Like
thing.
Sadaf to khair has always been very, you know, she runs her own fashion thing as well. But a lot of people don't know this, that, you know, if I go out shopping, I'm the kind of person जो आप वो फिल्मों देखते हैं ना, टीचर जब बूढ़ा हो जाता है, अल्लाह ना करे, अल्लाह ना करे, खुदा ना करे, जिसकी बीवी जब मर जाती है तो वो वही टाई पहन के आता है जो बीवी ने जो है सिलेक्ट करके दी होती है कि my wife bought me these things, so I wear these ridiculous looking ties. But the weird thing is that Sadaf, whenever I go shopping, I have to take her with me. Because I really take her advice very seriously.
No, but I can see that she's probably very honest with you too,
Yeah.
right? She gives it to you as it is.
Yeah. But she has, but you have to have an eye for that.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of other people who are honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
So honest for the sake of honest.
और उनकी honesty.
सच पूछो तो.
I think Western cinema has been a real big influence in my life. मुझे ऐसा लगा कि यार चलो rewind करते हैं और शुरू से होके आते हैं. Now let's see कि अब क्या हो रहा है. And I went back to the 40s. There's a friend of mine who said कि यार तू जरा Marlon Brando को देख. I was like यार हर कोई बोलता है Marlon Brando. क्या है Marlon?
कौन है ये? क्या समझता है अपने आप को?
हाँ मतलब एनी बाप बना फिर रहा है जो सबका. And every Hollywood actor is saying Marlon Brando is something you should learn something from. And I went back and I started watching these films by Elia Kazan, starting from A Streetcar Named Desire. That was one of the oldest films. I think another one was a film by Cecil B. DeMille, but I don't remember that too well. But then I was like, yeah, okay, let's start again from the top. And I watched a couple of Brando films, and then I realized this is acting.
Yeah.
This is what you call performance. Then I started watching, and I was like, yeah, there's two schools of acting जो के चल रहे हैं. I wouldn't call it the method and the classical and God knows what, but I would say कि British cinema का एक अपना एक distinct style of acting था, और Hollywood cinema का अपना एक distinct style of acting था.
Absolutely.
So then I crossed over to British cinema. I watched the performances of Laurence Olivier and Peter O'Toole, and then I came back. Then I started watching the earlier works of, you know, Dustin Hoffman and Steve McQueen and बहुत सारे artists.
That's a lot to take in.
There was a lot to take in, and that I started watching just 6 years ago. And now I make it a point that I watch a film every night.
But I guess that was the turning point then, huh? Then when you decided that I want to be an actor, I might as well be a really good, at least a very literate, very, you know, knowledgeable actor.
I wouldn't say knowledgeable, but those were experiences. I was again absorbing. I was observing and I was absorbing.
But I mean, obviously, what we see of you is a lot of success. At least we've seen it progressively, you know, like there was a successful band, there was successful on TV, and then, you know, now there's Bollywood. But they do say that it's not your success, but your failures that actually define you in a lot of ways. I mean, do you feel when you look back that there are some milestones, some disappointments that really change the way that you look at things?
Weirdly enough, there was a film, I don't know, maybe at some point in time, कभी आगे ज़िंदगी में मैं नाम भी लूँगा उस फिल्म का. मैंने audition किया उसके लिए. It was a Hollywood film.
That's...
Before my foray into television.
Okay.
I went and auditioned for the film, and the director sort of, she was locked in. She was like zeroed in. She's like, you're the one. You're the one. I was like, wow, I'm the one? Okay.
Wow.
She's
For
like,
Hollywood.
For Hollywood, yeah. Because the thing is that she gave me one scene, then she gave me another, then she gave me another. I was doing screen tests.
Yeah.
Then she gave me like a total like 6-7 scenes, and I was like, this is getting serious. And then we were in constant communication. We were in touch for a whole year.
Yeah.
By the end of it, this, I literally kid you not, happened on my birthday. I sort of called her and I was like, listen, if it's not going to work out, you know, I don't mean to pester or badger you, but let me know, na? मतलब छोड़ दो अब या तो let me go. Disappointment हो तो एक ही दफा हो जाए.
Exactly.
And she said to me, Fawad, listen, I don't need to waste my time, you know, if I were not serious. So I will tell you, but you have to wait. And I was like, hey, the point is not about me trying to say, you give me the role, but if you just let me sort of, I will pursue other things. Otherwise, I put everything on hold.
Yeah.
For a whole year, I did not do anything.
Yeah.
I did not do anything. I just waited. I was like कि नहीं यार अब इस काम से जो ना आप आगे शुरुआत करेंगे. And कुछ ऐसी नोट पे बात ख़त्म हुई, कुछ ऐसा कोई अनकही बात थी या कुछ ऐसी बात थी कि जो मुझे महसूस हुआ, शायद कोई एक नेगेटिव सी चीज़ महसूस हुई. I broke into tears after that. I kind of broke into tears. I was devastated. I was like, yeah, I was broken. I was like, where am I standing? I literally did not have much money, and I was like, you know, I have a whole family to support. That's the one thing you're
counting on, yeah.
You know, and I have a whole family to support. So what do I do now? Yeah. I've waited endlessly for a whole year to pursue a passion, you know, without thinking about money. And where has it got me?
Yeah.
And after that, I was like, you know what? Forget it. If I'm not good enough at this craft, I'm going to polish that craft, and I'm going to polish that craft in television.
Yeah.
And then I got into TV.
Nice.
And I remember there were times, even while I was doing TV, when I used to be like, I hate this. Yeah. I hated it. I hated every minute of it. And I was like, यार मतलब मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ? Because उस वक्त TV का इतना trend भी नहीं होता था. People did not watch TV.
And obviously there was a conflict in your head too, because there's a lot that you want to do for yourself, your family, and everything, and you want
I'll be
things
very honest.
figured out.
I'll be very, very, you know, blunt about it. I didn't think much of TV. मैं नहीं समझता था कि TV जो है एक बहुत बड़ी चीज़ है, एक बहुत बड़ा medium है. To think of it as a very lowly medium at that time. And then things suddenly started getting better. People started, you know, sort of recognizing. अच्छा लगा, you know. Maybe it's something that every person yearns for. And जब बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाता है, that's the bigotry in life, I think. आप जब बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाता है, उसके बाद आप कहते हो बहुत हो गया यार. मतलब now it's getting overbearing. कि मतलब कोई ना पहचाने बस ये सब. और जब नहीं होता, तो it's like you're craving it. You're almost begging for it.
How did Bollywood then suddenly happen?
Bollywood happened.
I was like waiting, please, Bollywood happen ho jaya. And then there was this boy who was sitting and brooding away. And
Bollywood is तरह हुआ कि it's not a very masala story.
You know, I realized you're really humble. You're like, नहीं, मेरी कोई masala story नहीं. मेरी struggle भी अच्छी थी. Where God was very kind. Dude, you struggled. You had such a beautiful long struggle, and then you got to such a wonderful, wonderful place. It's, you know, आप शो मार सकते हैं थोड़ी सी. Basically, मैं ये कहना चाह रही हूँ.
लेकिन बड़ा वो अजीब सा लगता है. जब कभी बार लोग कहते हैं ना कि क्या यार आपकी लक बड़ी अच्छी है, आए और छा गए. ओ भाई मैं 2000 से मैं काम कर रहा हूँ इंडस्ट्री में. People don't know that. People don't know that most of these actors, a lot of these television actors who've come up, have actually just come up in front of me. A lot of musicians as well. In fact, even Ali Zafar, I think he started music after EP was in place. And I remember हम सारे band members ने एक concert पे बैठे हुए एक tour पे गए हुए थे, तो हम बैठे थे कमरे में और उस वक्त छन्नू की वीडियो आई थी.
I remember.
और हम बैठ के छन्नू की वीडियो देख रहे हैं. यार ये तो खा जाएगा सबको. These were literally our words. हम सब जो ना we were like agreeing together कि खा जाएगा सबको. So but the point is कि I've been there for a very long time, but now I'm like too tired to answer that. मैं कहता हूँ हाँ जी शुक्रिया.
हाँ जी शुक्रिया, बिल्कुल struggle नहीं किया.
So Bollywood, I was literally I think बिस्तर में था, सोया हुआ था. फोन आया.
ये सोने की बहुत सिग्निफिकेंस है जिंदगी में. हाँ
देखिए जो सोता है वो खोता नहीं है, वो बहुत कुछ पाता है. तो आप इस चीज़ पे अमल ज़रूर करें. आप सोएंगे, आप सपने देखेंगे और वो सपने पूरे हो जाएंगे आपके. ख्वाब देखेंगे, सपने
हो गया ना बस. बड़ा प्यारा लग रहा था जब आपने सपने भी बोला था. हमको क्या लग रहा था.
तो मैं सोया हुआ था and I got a call from the casting director. His name is Nalini Ratnam, and she's like, you know, we are casting for this film called Khoobsurat. She's like, here's the script, and you know, here's the one-liner, and there's the script and all that. And you're like, एक दो scenes record करके भेज दे. मैंने भेज दिया record करके scenes. They liked it. They flew me down, and I think May that same year, I came down. एक reading की मैंने with the director and with Sonam, and I think that was more of a formality because जब मैंने उनको tests record करके भेजे थे, which you know the three people I think who really helped me in that were Maram, Abru and Sameer. And वो record करके भेजे, and they liked that. तो उस चीज़ की basis पे already I think they were pretty much पक्का कि यार
obviously they'd flown you there, so they kind of knew. They just
ज़हन बन चुका हुआ था उनका. So I went there, then I met Anil Kapoor and Riya, we sat there in a room and they're like, so how do we do this? And I was like, so how do we do it? They're like, किस तरह होगा ऐसा कुछ? Formality सारी की सारी तय की, and then we were preparing. But उसके बाद then I was back, and then we were preparing for the film. Wow. And in October we just went onto the floors. It was more because at that time, again, मैं कुछ ऐसे bouts आते हैं मुझ पे जहाँ पे मैं कुछ इतना ज़्यादा picky and choosy हो जाता हूँ कि मैं I end up doing nothing. So उस वक्त मैं सोया हुआ था, but I was at a more relaxed state in life. कोई ऐसा नहीं कहूँगा कि उस वक्त भी, you know, like.
And obviously the TV success had happened already.
It was paying off. You know, मतलब I was already happy doing whatever I was doing.
Yeah.
But ये चीज़ आई तो मैंने कहा चलो यार try करके देख लेते हैं, because you know we'll see how it turns out. You know, and it seems like a decent film. There's nothing to मतलब I'm kind of, you know, aligned with it, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
Although the script did change, the script had changed a lot by the time we got onto the shoot. But I was like, yeah, let's see how it turns out. Let's see. For me, again, another big motivator for me to get into it was I had always been used to working with people that I was comfortable with. Yeah. You know, familiar faces. And I was like, chalo yaar, let's try something where you just go into an alien territory altogether, where you don't know any person. Everything just kind of just fell into place.
But you seem to get along really well with Sonam. She's my girl crush, by the way. Oh my God, that girl dresses up really well. But you know, but it seems like you guys really get along fine, and that was obviously visible on the screen. Also, you seem to be really good friends.
The whole team. You see, एक और चीज़ ये भी होती है. I feel कि when a team sort of sleeps, eats, and you know works together, you know, really bonds like a family. And हम तो एक ऐसी जगह में located थे कि जहाँ पे shoot कर रहे थे, वहीं पे जो ना उधर कमरे थे, because it was a heritage hotel, तो हम खाते थे, अंदर जाते थे, सोते थे, सुबह को उठते थे, नाश्ता साथ में करते थे, फिर काम करते थे, बीच में पत्ते भी खेल रहे होते थे. So मतलब the thing is कि वो time इतना ज़्यादा वो इकट्ठा गुजरा कि automatically bonding होनी शुरू हो गई. And again, I feel कि they're a very, very educated, cultured, and decent family. Yeah. So getting along with them is not a difficult thing, and the rest of the team as well. Yeah. There were so many other people in that team जिनके साथ इतनी अच्छी दोस्तियाँ हुई. Time अच्छा गुजरा. I guess for the first time, or maybe not for the first time, but out of the few instances when I've just been very loose and you know sort of like easy going. So मैं इतना easy going हुआ था कि no one had problems with me. I didn't have problems with anyone. So we got along very well.
Wonderful.
And the biggest thing, the issue, the battle of होता है ना कि यार aesthetically, I'm working with a team that also knows what they're talking about, and they also accept my input.
Wonderful.
So I was very comfortable. So as long as I'm looking good, तो बाकी जो है फिर हम सारे का सारा कर लेंगे, we'll manage it.
So what happens now?
What happens now?
What's next?
Next in the pipeline. There are some really interesting projects that we've come across.
Yay, more of Fawad Khan coming. Get ready, girls. There's a lot more of Fawad Khan coming your way.
हाँ, बस अल्लाह करे कि ऐसे ही चलता रहे.
फिक्र ना करें, बहुत लोग दुआएं कर रहे हैं आपके लिए. हाँ.
नहीं, I've been very blessed that way. बहुत सारे लोगों ने इतनी love and support, and it continuously has been, you know, people have been very kind with it. Yeah. But in the future, there's some really interesting projects in Bollywood. I don't like saying Bollywood. I say in India, and in the Indian film industry and in the Pakistani film industry as well. Wow. Both.
So it's very refreshing because clearly you're not really going for, say, the Indian film industry or the Pakistani film industry, but you're targeting roles clearly here.
I'm just learning. I'm learning the ropes. Even today, I don't consider myself to be a brilliant actor. There are much more talented people out there.
You're a brilliant brooder. Oh, nobody broods better than you do, dude. But yes, coming back to that, sorry.
But yeah, the thing is, the thing I was talking about, travel and education. पहले मौका नहीं मिला in my youth. अब मौका मिल रहा है, so I'm taking the bull by the horns. Yeah. मुझे लगता है कि now, you know, that whole thing that I was talking about, I'm working, traveling, for me it's an education. I'd like to go to as many places around the world as possible. Wherever work takes me, I'd love to go. I'm very serious about it. A lot of people, बहुत सारे लोग समझते हैं कि मैं मजाक कर रहा हूँ कि जब मैं कहता हूँ कि you know, अगर कोई नाइजीरियन फिल्म मुझे ऑफर हो जाए तो मैं, although मुझे एक फिल्म साउथ अफ्रीका से और केन्या से ऑफर हुई भी है.
Wow.
हुई भी थी एक. You know, this interesting project.
You have some global fans, I see clearly.
I wouldn't say. मुझे लगता है कि because there were people, expats or people working in London, BBC में काम कर रहे हैं, इस तरह के जो काम कर रहे होते तो वहाँ पे बहुत से लोगों को, आई एम नॉट प्रॉब्ली द ओनली वन, बहुत से लोगों को इस तरह जो है जाती होंगी. बट मेरा सिर्फ कहने का मकसद है कि आई वुड लव टू really travel with my work and see the world on my own time, but then see the world in that space, because जब आप काम कर रहे होते हो तो you're spending more time with people from different cultures and locals. तो हर लिहाज से वो एक बड़ा एक educating experience, एक enjoyable experience होता है. एंड ये चीज़ हमें बहुत कम एक्सपीरियंस करने को मिलती है आज की दुनिया में. जितना भी मुझे ऐसे लगता है कि मसले मसाइल हैं वो इसलिए हैं बिकॉज हम लोगों को जानते नहीं हैं, हम लोगों से इंटरेक्ट नहीं करते हैं, वी डोंट वांट टू नो. ये सिर्फ इंडिया पाकिस्तान की आप देख लें हालात क्या हैं. इसलिए हैं बिकॉज अ लॉट ऑफ पाकिस्तानीज़ डोंट नो व्हाट इंडिया इज़ लाइक एंड लॉट ऑफ इंडियंस डोंट नो व्हाट पाकिस्तान इज़ लाइक. तो आई थिंक अगर ट्रैवल करेंगे, लोगों से मिलेंगे, तो आपको असल कहानी पता लगेगी. एंड देन यू विल गेट आउट ऑफ दैट होल मीडिया प्रोपेगेंडा एंड ऑल दैट काइंड ऑफ स्टफ.
So what we're getting over here is that Fawad Khan is all set to take on the world, and there are a lot more projects coming up, so we're going to be seeing a whole lot of him. We do wish you the very best of luck, and thank you so much for taking the time out. This was such a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. For me as well, likewise.